It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, so welcome to 2024. First things first, if you ask me how was the holiday, I'll tell you it was actually a bit rough, to be honest, if I'm honest. Firstly, I didn't have my son, Buster, for the first 2 weeks as he was with his mum. And I'd be lying to you if I said I love the peace and quiet of just being alone. I actually hated it initially. I've never not had him for that long, and I took some time to adjust. I was up north with friends, but I felt like I'd lost a limb or two. It was weird with him not being around. Anyway, I caught some small fish and a couple of biggies. The kite fishing experiment failed when it snapped, but my mate Lenny, he got his jet ski and went off to sea and brought the kite home. I emceed the local fishing competition, did the auction of the fish in Upinoni. I loved doing that. It was good fun. But I got crook. I got this infected leg, which turned out to be cellulitis. It looks like amputation's the only option if you look at what was there. Luckily, I avoided that, but on New Year's Day, I was in Rawene Hospital in the Hokianga as they gave me antibiotics, which by day 7, I thought it had worked, but I still needed more. The fever had pushed my blood pressure sky high, and the doctors were worried without this treatment, I might have had a heart attack or a stroke. So it was actually quite serious. Hearing that almost set off the first heart attack, to be honest. So I got more drugs, and I thought it was gone. I had another 5 days, so I did 2 weeks of drugs and I thought it was gone. When it came back again, this time I was in Warkworth, and in the Warkworth A&E, the closest place to where I was camping. And they put me on an IV drip for 3 days. This is last week. Needles in the arm, antibiotics straight into the system, and on day 3, doctors were worried it still was hanging around. I did a blood test looking for life-ending blood clots. My results suggested that might be the case. So off I went for a scan or radiology. If it was a clot, and it moved, you could die, just like that. Clots are deadly, but despite indications I might have one, the scan said I didn't, which was great news. But here's the best news ever. I'm going to be around for a very long time, for decades, because my blood pressure recorded 121 over 81, and next day was 119 over 79, and 180 over 20 is perfect. So whatever you think of me as a human specimen, you may be forced to review your thoughts, okay? Because the blood pressure says, oh, you're good. I spent some time in Point Wells with friends. It's next to Omaha, next to the rich man's paradise, but slightly intolerant of young ones, or those that are not from there. In Omaha, a woman yelled at me for my car making a screeching noise, which I must admit was annoying, but the more it pissed her off, the more I drove past her. She hated it. And a point where my son and his mates were told to turn the music down at 7 p.m. by a man who'd bought his house next to a public outdoor basketball court. A bit intolerant. Maybe it was the choice of music. When I saw Buster and his mates heading back there after dark with what looked like eggs, I was suspicious. Luckily, we were able to distract these boys and the eggs as well. We played a game with them with the eggs rather than the eggs ending up stuck to the side of a letterbox, say, next to the basketball court. So we managed to see that one off. So I seriously switched off. But in the past week, I paid more notice to things happening news-wise around the country. And here are my thoughts. Here are my hot takes to kick things off. National has bought itself one hell of a fight with Māoridom. I consider this fight so unnecessary and such a distraction to what really needs to be done in New Zealand. But this Māori agenda, it's a sideshow now. It now threatens to engulf this government and the government agenda. And Luxon says he's going to simply be doing things for Māori, whatever that means. But they want him to actually let them be and leave them alone and let them keep their identity, keep their language and all the things that they have fought for decades, so hard for decades. 10,000 people turned up at the hui over the weekend, held by the Māori King. It's a sensational turnout. And Luxon, in my view, is bitten off more than he can chew. He's got no idea what he's playing with and who he's playing with. And why is he even doing it? I holidayed all summer with Māori, Pākehā, even a bloke from Garner for a week. Delightful bloke. But we're a melting pot in this country of licorice, all sorts. Many people, many cultures, many languages. Why have a war against tangata whenua? Surely we have so much more to do than that. And Māori have won numerous rights established by the courts. So it's in law, established in law, that can't just be taken away. Luxon's run into a real brick wall on this. He's naive to simply think that he can do some of this stuff. My police sources tell me that police have been ordered to be ready for chaos, potentially at Waitangi, especially with the Māori King now confirmed to go. Luxon's confirmed to go, so there's been a showdown probably at Waitangi. He may have skipped the King's hui, but he can't escape Waitangi, so watch this space on that one. White supremacy, though, they're cool. It was a step too far. This is not a KKK outfit or Hitler on show here. Those words were too extreme, and it takes away some of the credibility. But worse was National's Tama Potaka's response. He said, it's too premature to call us white supremacists. What the hell? Just say it's offensive and wrong, mate. National started Kura Kaupapa, they started Kohanga Reo, they settled more claims than Labour. That's not a party based on white supremacy. Tell the truth. If you've got National defending themselves like that, they're going to lose. Golriz at number 2. I've got so many questions for her. If she was so stressed, why didn't the Green Party identify it, manage her better, give her some leave, help her out? I mean, their PR machine was absolutely non-existent. The support was missing. Did she even tell them she was in a bad way, or was it obvious to them? Or was that just this excuse prepped to make us all have some sympathy for her? I'm unconvinced by the stress thing. She's not in government. She's not an electorate MP. She's not a select committee chair. She's not negotiating with Winston. And what's her workload like? And I've seen many, many higher-profile MPs cope with all sorts of abuse and threats and still not resort to that. It's a spectacular failure, but the mental health excuse, I don't know, I remain suspicious about this. The economy is stumbling, and people's ability to absorb more cost-of-living shocks is exhausted. I noticed this over the holiday period. And people are over it. And fewer people have money to spend. There's more pain to come, I suggest. So I urge bosses to think creatively before laying people off. Try the 4-day working week or the 9-day fortnight. We've done it before, and we can do this again. And then there's this. Middle-aged men continue to die or get into trouble in the water. Here's some advice. Plan your trips. Read. Forecasts. Take communications. Don't take risks at sea. And respect the power of the water. We're too cocky. We're too confident. But the water is one powerful beast. I think we're naive around water, and few of us have learned how to truly, fully respect it. And I've been living. We don't do enough of it. We're stuck in this cycle that seems so dumb, then we die. We go to work at the same time, we sit on traffic, we sit on motorways, we deal with the same things. How do we do it differently? I want to make this a theme this year. Working is not living. Sitting in traffic is not living. We've got to think outside this capitalist box. And also, I've worked this out too. There's more community in small towns than the big, cold, large cities. It's a long slam. I promise they'll be shorter, but I had to get all that off my chest. Have a good 2024.